I should be mowing my grass, but instead I have road trip on the brain because I have one coming up and I'm pretty excited. Part of getting ready for any road trip though is to give some thought to the setup in my van and figure out if I need to make any modifications. And there are a couple that I've been wanting to make for a while. This seems like a good time to do it, so I'm going to show you what they are and explain why I feel the need to make them. Cowboy, I guess, is going to help. Some kind of help he is, but we'll tolerate him as long as we can. Say hi, Cowboy. One of the modifications that I want to make involves the adjustable legs. Each leg before had a piece attached that, theoretically speaking, could have slid and been adjusted at varying heights so that accommodations could be made for whatever I was hauling or how much space I needed. The only problem with that was I never actually used that feature because it was such a pain in the neck to adjust the legs. So I used to have 2 bolts per leg, and each bolt had a washer. So invariably, if you went to loosen a bolt, the washer would fall. And you had to do it 2 per leg, so a total of 8 bolts and washers to deal with in order to adjust the leg. So that just wasn't going to work. What I've come up with though is a system where only 1 bolt and no washers per leg is necessary. And one is easily accessed even when the rack is inside the van. These 2 from the door in the back, and those 2 from the sliding doors. You can just reach in and grab the eye on the bolt and pull it out. So I think this will work much better. The only problem is these bolts are not going to work with the current hole setup because they don't bend at that angle. The holes are too small. So I'm going to get my drill and I'm going to make the holes bigger so that the bolt can go through at the angle it needs to in order to adjust the legs. I am really glad that I started with 1 leg, and before I did all that drilling on 3 other ones, I tested it to see if it would work. And no, it didn't work at all. So no matter how much I drilled on these holes, I couldn't get the angle right without compromising the structural integrity of the extensions themselves. So I thought, okay, well, we'll scrap that idea and try to think of something else. So what I came up with involved this cool aluminum wire my dad gave me a whole bunch of. I have used in a zillion other applications, so why not this one? And what I did was I made a little pin by bending that wire into this shape, and I still have my little circle at the end so it's easy to grab. And I just wiggle it in place wherever I want the leg, and voila, I have my leg. And I didn't even need to deal with bolts and nuts and all of that. All I had to deal with was free wire. So highly recommend this strategy. And on the other 3 legs, I'm not gonna have to drill anything at all. I will just make my little wire pins with my free wire and pliers I already had and put it in there. Work smarter, not harder. The other modification I want to make involves these legs for when I pull out the tray, because currently I just have a single length of leg and they either fit or they don't. So when I'm parked at an angle like I am now, it's not going to work. Like, there's all this space in between and it's not going to work. So I'm going to make adjustable legs here. And how I'm going to do that is, this is 2-inch PVC pipe, and I bought some 1.5-inch PVC pipe that fits inside. And again, I'm going to drill holes all the way through both pipes, and so I can slide the inner pipe up or down and get the length of leg I need. So even if I'm parked at a rakish angle, I should have legs that'll work. As you saw, I have 2 pieces of 2-inch PVC. And then in the shop, this is our miter saw, and Zach is helping me out, and he is going to cut the section of 1.5 inch PVC while I record. Okay, this is the 2-inch pipe, and Zach has strategically marked where the hole on it is going to be drilled, and it is 1.5 inches from one end. This is the 1.5 inch pipe, and Zach is drilling holes every inch. I wanted to show you how the modified legs function, and overall I'm really happy with how they are working. So you have a lot of different adjustments that can be made just by putting the inside pipe at different heights. So even the 2 legs don't have to be the same. So if you're in a pretty rugged area, one of these might be, you know, 6 or 7 holes up, and the other one might only need to be 2 or 3, and it still works. So you don't need to park on perfectly flat terrain in order for this to work. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. That was going to be the end of my improvements video, but then I got to talking to Angie, and she had 2 more really good ideas, so I decided to incorporate them and show you. So this is one of those little over-the-door organizers that you can get at Dollar General or Walmart or whatever, and I got one. Actually, I already had one just sitting around in the house, and it wasn't even out of the package, so I got it and cut it into thirds, and the top third is comprised of 8 pockets that I have hung over the passenger seat, like the front of it, so keep stuff organized for when I'm driving down the road, or like when I stop for the night and the next morning. So in this pocket is all my breakfast stuff, so a bag of sugar, tea bags, oatmeal, stuff like that. Got an extra phone charger, speakers, baggies, because I like to collect things and stick them in baggies and label them with Sharpies, which are also in there somewhere. Water, wipes, flashlight, skull, you know, all the important stuff right there within easy reach. And then in front of there on the seat is my main battery pack. This can be charged with solar power or car charger, or plug it into the wall. And even has this plug-in where I can plug in my entire houseboat and run the electricity off it for a while. So it's pretty dang cool. And this is its first road trip. I got it this spring and usually just use it when I go to the boat when I want to, but it's going on this road trip mainly as a test to see what it can do. I haven't had to use it a ton, but it's nice to have as backup. I believe it's lithium battery. This is Angie's other super cool idea. So I have all this stuff shoved in my toolbox, which works great for the big stuff, but then the little stuff kind of gets lost in there and you have to dig through it a lot. And so as she suggested, I went to Harbor Freight and got 2 magnet strips and hung them from the middle of the middle seat just with zip ties, and stuck some of my smaller, tougher to find little tools on there, and it's working great. Well, that's it for van camp life adaptations, modifications, improvements for this edition. As I think of more, I will let you know.